All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here. Real music in real time, blah, 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 all that fun stuff, and doing it for a few real people out there. So I'm reading this story, and I can't, this is just kind of mind blowing here. This comes from the BBC, okay? And there are certain people in this world, I think, that deserve the most severe of punishment for certain crimes. And this next story, I mean, you may disagree with me, and I don't know how you disagree with me. If you disagree with me on this, you want to go soft on people who abuse children. I don't know. I don't know if I can talk to you. Well, let me just put that out there. I don't know if you're, a human being the same way I'm a human being. And I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. Just that most human beings react to a story like this and they say, okay, throw the guy over a cliff. Most, but of course not everybody, right? Because we're in the new normal where, what if it was consensual, right? I don't think it was. So here's the story from the BBC. Stephen Dawson, who was a founding member of the band Saxon, has been jailed for child sex offenses. Now, just to be clear, he hasn't been in the band since 1985. All right. But it says here a founding member of one of the UK's most successful heavy metal bands has been jailed for what they call historic child sex offenses, meaning this happened a while ago. Either that or it's historic because it's so unbelievably bad. I'm not sure. Stephen Dawson was the bassist in Saxon, who was formed in 1975 in Barnsley, South Yorkshire, or Yorkshire. That's the American version, and went on to sell more than 23 million records. That's impressive. I knew Saxon was a big deal, but I didn't know they were that big of a deal. Dawson of Street Lane, Rotherham, was jailed for repeatedly abusing a 6-year-old girl in the 1990s. All right, full stop. What took 30 years? What took 30 years? Did they not know about this? And they don't go into detail on why all of a sudden they finally got to this guy. He's now 72 years old and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. I'm sorry. Short of the death penalty, it should have been life in prison. All right. Death penalty, life in prison. I mean, I don't have any sympathy for any of this. Well, they didn't find him until now, Dave. Yeah, well, that's this detective here is a little slow getting to this crime. His name is Detective Robert Heath, who was the officer in charge of the case, said Dawson thought he had gotten away with this. Oh, okay. Thought he had gotten away with his attacks on a vulnerable victim 30 years ago. It is clear that his evil acts have remained with her throughout her life, and I hope this sentence goes some way. She's lived 30 years already with this. So he's basically saying, well, this will go a long way to allowing her to move on from these traumatic events. I don't think she'll ever move on from these traumatic events. Dawson, who apparently his character was used by the fictitious band Spinal Tap, and their character Derek Smalls, I did not know that, was reportedly partly based on Dawson. He toured the world with Saxon, whose top 40 singles included Wheels of Steel and 747 Strangers in the Night. I didn't know they're not a top 40 band, but back in the old days, you could get different things on the radio, whereas today you cannot. The band said to be one of Europe's biggest metal acts of the 1980s. And believe it or not, Ozzy Osbourne once opened up for Saxon. That's how big they were. Again, the detective talks about the victim. Dawson's victim had shown extraordinary strength to come forward. Oh, so she came forward and urged other people who may be suffering abuse to come forward as well. So they have a picture of Dawson here in 2009. And anyway, this just 30 years. Took 30 years, and he gets 6 years after 30 years of this being out there and nothing going on. I don't know. I mean, Jesus, remember when Jesus talked about the millstones? Better tie a millstone around your neck. I mean, everybody thinks that Jesus is always so like mellow and peaceful, but when it came to kids, nope. Jesus was not mellow and peaceful. He loved kids, and we should love kids. And we're living in an age where kids are expendable, disposable, and in some cases, um, I don't even know what this is. This is a human being who is malfunctioning, and if he can be fixed, great. But if he can't be fixed, then might be time to just throw him over the cliff. All right. He's 72. He's getting 6 years. He'll be out if he lives that long. I don't know if he's been to CVS multiple times, but if he has, maybe it won't be that long. Maybe it'll be a short time. Anyway, folks, sorry for the depressing video. I just hate to see this stuff. Saxon, by the way, just for clarification, Saxon is not associated with this guy anymore. So I don't want to throw the band under the bus. They've been putting out music, and they're still a pretty viable band. I would say they're right up there with Judas Priest as far as the quality of their recordings. It's really not my cup of tea, but I've listened to some of their stuff. And again, this isn't my lane per se, musical lane, but they're good at what they do. And hence that's why they've sold a lot of albums and people continuously go back to listen to them. So just want to put that out there. This guy quit in or was fired, I don't know, 1985. So it's been a long time. But the dude obviously went off the rails, and it's a tragedy, but it's happening more and more in today's society. And what really bugs me, much like the other issue that I talk about on this show, is that people don't seem to care. Whatever, dude. Yeah. Well, he's going to jail. What else do you want? I don't know. The millstone thing, maybe. I mean, let the crime, let the punishment fit the crime in this particular place and case. And this is not it. This is not enough for what that 6-year-old girl had to deal with.